My first foray into sound art was with the Swiss sound artist Günter Müller. With some help from Helvetia, Pro Helvetia, I managed to get Gunter over, and we did a little tour, crisscrossing the country. So basically, Gunter arrived at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and 8 o'clock we were on stage in the Vision Centre in Cork. Nice crowd. And basically, like, I was on the ground with my stuff, in kind of AMM, Pink Floyd, Radiohead mode, giving it some, and Gunter was sitting at the table with his accoutrement. And, we found a way, we kind of found a voice, a way to play it with each other, and it was great. Next day, we travelled to Limerick, to Lyric FM, and we did a session in Lyric FM, played live, and did an interview. And it's quite funny, like, because it's kind of first time playing kind of sound art, so I didn't really know what I had to say, so it was, they didn't ask me about anything else, so, but we heard it on the radio as we were travelling to Galway, and it was actually quite good. And we got to Galway, and basically, let me kind of explain, like, with the sound art, you got 5 people in the audience wearing anoraks, that kind of, each guy buys 5 CDs, like, that's like great stuff, but when we got to Galway, we were playing during the Galway Arts Festival. We weren't part of it, but we were playing during it in the Galway Arts Centre, and the concert in the Galway Arts Centre was absolutely packed. Now, if there was 1,000 people there, I wouldn't be surprised, but like, they were actually everywhere. Like, so I barely had enough space to set up for myself, and they were actually sitting behind Gunter when he was playing. Like, he was actually quite irked by that, and like, he said to me, he said, "Mark, do they know, like, that we're doing this kind of stuff?" And I kind of said, "Well, Gunter, they kind of know that we're not going to be playing Wonderwall." And Gunter actually, like, fell around the place laughing for about a half an hour. It was so funny. And basically, we played, and it was a really lovely concert because it was very quiet, dynamics, very quiet. Kind of little dabs of electronic on the canvas. And then we kind of brought the dynamics up. I was using EBow and all this kind of stuff, but I had a guitar tuned down to B, low B, so I was kind of doing like the full sono kind of subsonic drone with feedback vibe, and I also was kind of getting, coaxing feedback out of the amp, and I was kind of having to say to the audience, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind," kind of thing, so I could kind of get up to the amp and give it the kind of, kind of coax the feedback out of it. And it was a fantastic concert. And then we kind of went to Clonmacnoise the next day, and we were walking around Clonmacnoise, and basically we had a chat, and we kind of came to the conclusion, like, let's try and consolidate and kind of amalgamate our sound so that it's like emanating from one source for the next concert. So we travelled across the country to Kildare for the next concert, and 5 people showed up. So we went from like 1,000 plus, I'd say, to like 5. Now, the guy running the concert said, like, "Look, here's your money. You can kind of head off if you want." And we were like, no, we'll do the concert, no problem. So we went and did it, and the concept worked incredibly well. It was the best concert that we did. And like, it was all kind of Nice Guy Eddie. Now, what I mean by Nice Guy Eddie, it's like Reservoir Dogs, the epitome of congeniality, and it was kind of very congenial, all kind of, there's a good chap kind of thing. But in the concert in Kildare, we actually developed an actual voice. Now, at the end of that concert, I mentioned to Gunter, I said, "Look, we should record." And Gunter said, "I agree." So I called Donica in the Rise in Cork and said, "Look, do you have any availability?" And he said, "Look, yes, but I'm free from 5 on Sunday." I said, see you at 6. So then, after Kildare, we had to go to Roscommon, great county, great people. Roscommon people are the best. And the Leitrim, Leitrim runs Roscommon, great people. So we had a fantastic concert there, made great friends with them and saw them again, great people. So we had a fantastic concert, and next day drove drove down back to Cork. Now, between kind of casual, thurless kind of thing, I said to Gunter, I said, Gunter, the name of the album is going to be Skyshifter. And Gunter was, I like it. I like it a lot. Went to the studio, did the recording, fantastic. Did the post-production, all that kind of stuff. And one day I was walking into town and I saw the Elysian Tower. Elysian Tower was the tallest building in Ireland at one point, and it was in construction. The primary construction phase, and there was a plinth, and then they put a kind of a cover on the plinth, and then they took it off, and it was like really lit up and atmospheric and amazing. So I ran over to the construction workers and I said, lads, when are you going to be putting the cover back on? And they said, oh no, the cover isn't going back on, but we're actually going to be construction phase tomorrow night. And that's it. So this was about 4:00 in the day. I called my friend, the photographer Jonathan Beasley, great guy, great friend of mine, one of my best friends and one of the best photographers. And I said, John, are you available around 8? And he was just like, okay, Mark, what do you want? John, we got to get an iconic photograph, man. You available for that? Sure, okay. And he came down and walked around, and Jonathan got the iconic photograph of the plinth of the Elysian, which is on the front of Skyshifter, and which he had an exhibition a while back in Ballymaloe House. And that picture featured prominently in the exhibition. Jonathan Beasley, look out for him, great photographer. Some shout outs first. Roscommon Art Centre, Galway Art Centre, the Vision Centre in Cork, and the chap in Kildare who let us rock on. Thank you, man. Thank you. And Donica, and Finney, and Jur. Great people. And of course, Ian Richards, the driver, the sound engineer, the mother. Absolute fantastic. Ian, how can I thank you enough, my friend? So that was it. The album was released on Creative Sources. I'll post the link. Thank you, Rodrigo. Great album, and I'm really appreciative of it. Thank you very much for listening.